This is Julie, and the trend I will be talking about today is genrefying. My specific inquiry question is, how does genrefying a school library affect the school as a whole? A deeper look at genrefying and the role of school libraries in the school system. What is genrefying? If you're not familiar, I'm sure you are, but if you're not, it is arranging libraries in the style of bookstores in which genres are grouped together instead of every fiction book alphabetical by author or every nonfiction book by Dewey decimal number. Some librarians don't quite like it being called the bookstore model because they're not selling anything, and they'd rather group books together to spark discussion and to get people out of their comfort zones, not just selling things. But there are a lot of similarities. But if you don't like that term, it's okay. There are lots of people who don't like it. Some of the pros and cons for genrefying. Now this list and the next slide are just very basic. These are entirely surface level pros and cons. These are just what everyone kind of might know or guess already. Some of the pros are students can easily browse their favorite genre as well as new genres. Students who need a book quickly do not need to use the online catalog, and weeding and collection development are easier tasks with all these genres grouped together. Some of the cons are that books that span genres can be difficult to locate and difficult to place. Searching for a specific book can be more challenging, and students might be ill-prepared for college libraries or any libraries after the stage that they're at. Some pros and cons for Dewey. Pro would be students looking for specific books can easily find them using the online catalog, and students are prepared for their future library research, or at least more prepared. Cons are browsing for fiction book is time-consuming, finding books in similar genres is difficult, and using the online catalog to find every book can be frustrating for reluctant readers. The common consensus. I gathered these items from some blog posts that I read from the Mighty Little Librarian, thoughts from a library girl, the sassy bibliophile, and the bespectacled librarian. They seem to come together and decide on some ways to kind of bring together Dewey and genrefying, because they say that genrefying is not necessarily an absolute thing. It kind of spans a wide variety of library things. School librarians who want to genrefy their library but also want their students to be prepared for high school or college libraries will reconcile by only genrefying the fiction section. This ensures that students will still learn how to find materials using an online catalog. Librarians who still want fiction books to show up in the online catalog will add genre abbreviations to the book label, like ADV for adventure or SFI for science fiction. And that way kids can still easily look up books. For books that span genres, librarians either buy duplicate copies of the book, so the book can be in several locations at once, or they do extensive research into the book and make an informed decision. Some librarians will also poll students who have read these books that span genres and let the kids decide. This example school that I'm going to be looking at is called Red Hawk Elementary, and I love this case study because it's a library that was built from the ground up to be a genre library. Because it was a new elementary school that two feeder schools were going into, they decided not to even begin with Dewey. They chose their fiction and nonfiction to be grouped together by genre and by subject. So it's one of the first schools to switch to this model, and let's see, they only employ one librarian across the board in their school district. So every school has only one librarian. And this was an issue in their school because there was only one librarian to work with each of the students and help them with the online catalog, and especially in an elementary school where they don't learn decimals until 4th grade, and they're unsure of themselves on computers in the lower levels, one librarian just wasn't enough to get to every student and find them books. So the switch was made because librarian was stretched too thin at finding books for lower elementary school students who could not use the online catalog. And so this was a huge factor in low circulation, they found. What I love so much about this school also is the community support and the support of all the staff members. The results of this, this big huge change in the school system was that there is an increase of 372 checkouts from the previous year. The preferred genre of students switched from fantasy to realistic fiction, and checkouts are now spread throughout all genres. In the nonfiction section, there's an increase of 422 checkouts from the previous year, and 61% of all books checked out were nonfiction books. And this goes along with the Common Core State Standard for Best Practicing Collection Guidelines, which says that 60% of nonfiction books should be checked out. They gather these statistics by having a group of students from their feeder schools being tracked and recorded all of their checkouts and the genres they checked out. And then the next year at Red Hawk Elementary, they used the same students and tracked what they checked out. So the specific benefits to the librarian is that students can navigate the library easily, freeing up the librarian's time. Shelving is no longer as precise, making shelving a quicker process for the librarian and something she can even delegate out to students. The librarian can now spend ample time collaborating with teachers, teaching workshops, and giving students one-on-one attention. It's not solely focused on finding literature, which I think is important, that if all of your time is spent finding a book, then you don't have a lot of time discussing the book or other books that the child might want to read. Also, librarians have an increase in collection development data because each genre is being checked out, I guess, individually. You get statistics on which genres are being most utilized and which genres might need more attention and things like that. From what I've read, this has been extremely helpful for librarians. Benefits to the school. And this is kind of the crux of my presentation because my scope question was, how does it affect the school? And how it does that is that teachers and the librarian have more time for collaboration. They can work together, they don't have to spend their time searching for a book, they can really talk to the students and have workshops with the students. Also, students are discussing books more as they read new genres. One librarian commented that students who didn't even know each other, that weren't necessarily friends, were giving each other book reviews just based on where they were standing in the library, what genres they were looking at, and there's just this big open discussion about what books someone has read and other books that were really cool, which just warms my heart. Also, students are easily transitioning between print and online resources. This is another great thing in the classroom and in the library, that kids can easily go back and forth between print and online resources. They're clearly getting that kind of training from the library and using it in the classroom. Also, students are connecting fiction and nonfiction. This is also really fascinating because kids that are checking out fiction books are getting ideas and wanting to explore those ideas in nonfiction, wanting the facts behind the fiction, such as books on World War II or books on the prairie, and even science fiction. They want to know more about these futuristic things that might happen one day. And so it's really exciting that the nonfiction numbers are going up along with the fiction. Also, younger students have more confidence in finding resources by themselves, freeing up the teachers and librarians' time, which also just gives everyone more time for deeper learning. Reading and test scores have increased at some elementary schools. Teachers have less of a need for classroom libraries. That frees up space in their classrooms, and teachers are spending more time in the library, which is great. I'm going to go back to reading test scores are increasing. This is obviously a huge deal where kids, aren't just reading to read, but they're reading to really learn, and the reading is getting better. If test scores are increasing, then obviously something is going really, really right in a school. So what's the school library's role in the school system? Is it to prepare students for all their future information and research needs? Is it to spark a passion for reading in students? Is it to provide students with the information and materials required by their subject teachers? Well, obviously it's all of these things, plus probably a dozen more things. The school library is just, it should be the center of the school. Kids should want to come into the library, they should want to do their homework in there, they should want to talk to the librarian, they should want to check out books, nonfiction and fiction alike, to just delve deeper into their studies, and and that's what the library should be about. And I believe that genrefying can really help that because students are not spending so much time looking for a specific book or going to websites to find books that are like other books. They can just go to the section that they really like and find something fun and then talk about it with their friends. So I really love this idea, and I hope more schools go on this trend, and even more public libraries, I hope, do this trend as well. Thanks for listening. Here are some citations of some really great articles, and a lot of these have kind of how-tos, and if you have a library that you want to genrefy, it goes through all the different labeling things that they went through, and just a ton of information. That would be really, really great.